What's up, fellas? What's going on? Urban Red Pill. Today, I want to talk about a subject of the title Marriage is a Dead End for Men and get more into the reason why I draw that conclusion. But first, I want to say I'm very shocked. I saw articles today showing the major jury chains have closed down or closing down. Your Jarrett's, your Every Kiss Belong Begins with K's are actually closing down. So, I mean, I guess we got some guys out there that are waking up and realizing the bitch is not worth the diamond. Or is this that no hymen, no diamond movement? Is it catching some steam? I don't know. But I'll link that article in the description. You guys check it out and see what it means or see what's going on. But what I want to talk about is I do know the marriage rates, they're saying it's at 50%, which I think is higher. I believe it's around 60 plus percent of Americans not getting married. So my question is I want to speak to those who are married, are considering marriage, or who are thinking about marriage. And man to man, what I want to ask is like, let's just really think about it. Let's think of this climate, this environment that we in. Let's think of the legislation that's already signed into law. And I would like to know what is in the deal for you. And I think the deal has gotten so bad that I don't even think a man could really come up with one good reason. Now, a lot of times I hear guys say, well, if you have kids, it's the best interest for the kids to be raised in a two-parent household, which is true. But what I'm saying is, if you're raising a kid under the umbrella of a marriage, which to me is a matriarchy, let's not get it twisted here. The country and the laws are geared towards her being the ruler of that household. It's legislated. So you could put on your wedding band and proclaim that you're the man of the house, but that's not how the laws work. So what is in the deal for men that rather have gotten married or thinking about getting married or on their way to marriage? It's nothing there. I'll point out a couple things that I see, and this is from coworkers of mine, friends of mine, family members of mine who have walked down this, the future divorce rate conveyor belt. And these are all the conclusions and the signs that I've seen that made me come to a red pill realization years ago that marriage is not in the cards for me. It's never going to happen. And even at that time, the same rules apply. I haven't even seen anything get any better. It's gotten worse now. Now they're going to start like these new domestic violence laws where even if there's no evidence, if she calls the cops on you, even if it's a fake domestic violence charge, they're taking your guns away from you. For all my concealed weapon carriers, your guns are gone. They're trying to pass it. It's not in law yet, but that's with her rather telling the truth or lying. It doesn't even matter. If you're getting called on a domestic issue, and you have a concealed firearm, they're taking that firearm from you. I don't know what the duration of the time is. I don't know if they say it's for a year or for good, but that's coming down the pike. But the first thing that never made sense to me about marriage is the contract part about it. If marriage, the way it's sold, with just speaking of the bankrupt companies I just spoke about earlier, every kiss begins with K's, where you're buying jewelry. It's all about the love, all about the togetherness, and all about the growing together. Why is there a contract that has to be signed with the state to make it official? Now, last I checked, anytime you have any type of legal binding documents, It's to bind you financially to what? So we already know the woman's not paying anything. So what is that contract for? Who's getting the bondage of the contract? In other words, who's the payer and the payee of this contract? Even in sports, when you sign a contract, you have a payer and a payee. You have an owner that's agreeing to give a player a certain amount of money, and you have a player that's agreeing to receive that money, and it's all contractual. It's all documented, put in paper. So what I want to ask you as a man, like, what side of the table are you on when it comes to that contract? And I will let you answer that yourself. I mean, I don't. It's a rhetorical question, but just the contract aspect of it, that has nothing to do with love. These decisions, people, grown adults can make on their own without having any type of legal binding contracts in the middle of it. So that was one of the main things that got me away from it. Secondly, as far as the kids go, with the evident divorce coming down the road, I mean, let's face it, women file for 75, 80%. Those numbers are not going down, they're rising. Unless we come to some Great Depression, all of a sudden they'll latch on to their husbands. But besides that, the inevitable divorce that's coming your way, she's going to get custody of the kids. So what's the point? If marriage is for the children, you're not going to have them anyways. So, that's a quick shutdown there. There's no point in that. The third thing, is in a marriage, because they've given the wife so much power through legislation, her white knight police officers, and the public, because get me wrong, if you act like you want to set some authority over your wife in public, you're going to have all kind of white knights, feminists, everybody coming your way to take your ass down. So what that means is it's impossible for you to be an authoritative figure over your family. And that's one of the main major aspects of you even being a husband in the first place. You can't have kids. Having kids is not just about you having testicles in the house. It doesn't really work like that. The human animal develops a little more complex than that. Fathers have to be an authoritative figure in that household. Now, explain to me, how can you do that? How can you be an authoritative figure over your whole household that you have to pay for? Now, remember, you're bankrolling this whole lifestyle, but you can't have any say-so. Your dominion is kept at a limit, and it's not so much that you can do. So what is the point if you can't have authority or be an authoritative figure on something that you have to pay for? All right. Also, you are the beast of burden and are responsible for taking care of every living being in that house, including your parasitic wife. She is a grown adult and able-bodied worker. Even if she has a job, I am telling you, I to this day have not seen a marriage where the woman is doing, forget 50-50. On average, men are doing 75% of the bill paying, the upkeep, the emotional support, and keeping everything stable. 75% of that goes to the husband and the man. Now remember, if there is an exchange for you having authority over this 75% that you're paying out of your ass, maybe for some guys it's subjective, that may be worth it. But what I'm saying is you're giving 75% of something, of everything, your health, your time, your finances, your resources, to something where you're not getting anything back in return. And you're responsible for every living being in that house. Also, the health issues. One thing that I've noticed that is a common denominator amongst husbands or men that are soon to be divorced or right after divorce. Depending on age, a lot of them, through the stress and the overwork, the backbreaking overworking, whether mentally or physically, they're in very bad health. Or you can see signs of deteriorating health upon their horizon. All of this for what? You're doing all of this work. You're this beast of burden just so you can drop dead and die. And then even after that, they're going to make sure you have a life insurance policy out on you so everyone still could get paid even when you're dead. Look at the life insurance company commercials. If you ever notice, most of the commercials you see, they're talking about the husband being responsible so that his family could be taken care of after he dies. They don't care about whether he lives or not. What they're telling him to do is you need to buy this policy, man up, be responsible so the people that you love could still be able to live a happy and fruitful life as if you were never there in the first place. That's how they market those commercials. They're marketing to let the husband, like, listen, you're going to die. But before you do, we already know you are. You're going to die. Before you do, we're trying to sell you this life insurance policy. And they're trying to get your provider instinct where after you die, your family and your kids, everybody will still be able to laugh, have parties, and live a lavish lifestyle, even when you're 6 feet deep. I don't know how fair that is. That sounds like a shitty deal to me. Also, you're going to get blamed for everything. The kids are going to blame you for everything because their mother has also trained them to blame you for everything. When you're not around, when you're out there working 55, 60 hours a week, the mother's there indoctrinating them into believing that anything that goes wrong in the family, in their lives, in their wives' lives, is going to be your fault. So that's why a lot of times you see them, they get home and they get a bunch of emotional baggage dumped at their feet. Because guess what? They have to be guidance counselors too. They have to be psychiatrists too, as well as a husband. Sounds like a shitty deal to me. Also, the sex is no longer a desire. It now becomes a means. Now, I know we've heard this millions of times about married men complaining about sex, but I'm here to tell you this is a real thing. Married men do not have sex with their wives like people think. If you think you're going to get married and that's going to guarantee you unlimited access to sex, it is a fucking lie. Single guys who date or in casual relationships have way more sex than guys that are married. By my YouTube name, I live in an urban community. And I'm telling you, it is not even close. Married guys, as a matter of fact, a lot of them have to cheat and step out a lot just to have that release. Because they're taking care of a wife. Not only does she gains weight and nags them, gives them a bunch of problems, but then has a nerve to use sex as a means. Why? Because it's no longer a desire to her. From the beginning, she used it to get into the situation she's in. Once she's there, I mean, the game is over. She has no more desire to please you or to submit to you. It's over. Like the jig is up. Like, what reason does she have? That's why, just like the married men cheat, the women do too, because the marriage kills the desire. So what they do is they get a fling on the side to keep that desire going. Because remember, women don't think, they feel. So she does not feel that, the bedroom is steamy enough. So most married men get cheated on anyways. So what's the fucking point? Why even contract your life in a chain and ball to a woman that's going to cheat on you anyways? All right? Women are dumb. This is another thing. I know some people go back and forth. They say, well, women are not dumb. They're just naive. Yes, in some instances, that is the case. But overall, I'm not saying all, but most women are dumb. And with that said, most men's wives are dumb. Now, I don't know about you, but even when I'm in a public setting or at a coffee shop, out to eat, just little random places that people go throughout their life, it is something about interacting with a dumb woman. I mean, I don't know. I'm quite sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It is something irritating about dealing with a chick where it is pretty obvious that she's very dumb, and that's just a stranger. Imagine being married to a dumb broad. You walk in the door, she didn't close the Coke all the way. She closed it halfway. Now the damn soda's flat. She stacks what? Glass bowls on top of cups. As soon as you open the damn cabinet, the glass bowls fall. Just dumb shit like that where, at some point common sense should have kicked in, but they don't have it. And just imagine you're stuck contractually with this person and you can't fix stupid. That's how she's born. So, there's no training you can give her that's going to have her smarter than she is today. This is what it is. And as a matter of fact, as age goes, she's going to get even dumber and more crazier. So what's the point? Last is retirement. Now, the reason why I say this for last is because this retirement is the time where you really see the downside of divorces. Think about it like this. I can give you an example. It was a guy that I knew at my job. Worked. Just imagine, I'm quite sure you guys know these type of guys. They work, and they love to talk about how they're saving up their peanuts, putting this to the side, this to the side, because they're looking forward to retirement and talking about the things and that they want to do, everything. And I would cringe a lot because I've been red pill for a while. I wouldn't say anything because I'm not the type that would, take shine away from a person. So I'll let them go with that. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, man, I hope his wife sticks around because like think about it like this. How she feels is the difference between you having a retirement or not. Think about it. If she decides that she wants to file for divorce and pull that ripcord, all of those things you talk about retirement, what you're going to do, all those things go out the window. As a matter of fact, even the date that you claim that you're going to stop working, that goes out the window. Your whole situation changes. In some of these guys' cases, they've been planning this for 20, 25, 30, and sometimes even more than 30 years. Just to have this one incident, this one decision that they made 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, in some cases even 5 years ago. This gynocentrism doesn't stop. You could be married with a woman for maybe 5 or 6 years, and they will still tell you that she's entitled to half of your retirement. Now imagine you have your house paid off, because that's one of the main things future retirees try to do, is they try to make sure all their debts are paid off. Houses, cars are paid for, everything. So the only thing they really have to pay for once they're done is utilities. Imagine that rug getting pulled from under your feet. Now, that house that you had paid off, you have to sell it and split the proceeds with an ex-wife who didn't even contribute to the finances of it. Then on top of that, if you have a pension, and let's say that pension is, I'll say $100,000 a year just so we can round the math off, you go from a 6-figure a year pension to $50,000 a year. You pretty much have knocked yourself from a lower upper class all the way down to a top lower class in just a split of a decision. You went from six figures to $50,000 a year in a pension. Just that quick. Just because she decided, well, she's not happy with you anymore. And God forbid, if she didn't have any income coming in, which most don't, out of that 50,000, you still are going to have to pay her alimony out of that until she dies. And we already know remarry or die, but we already know she's not getting remarried. Why? They're not going to stop that check. So that's why I left that for last, because the worst thing I think any person could do is place their future in the hands of another human being, because human beings, they change. Humans are very fickle. Sometimes men are included. People change. People don't think the same way they did 5 years ago. Some cases, people don't feel the same way they did 5 years ago. So why would you place all of your finances, all of your time, all of your net worth into a person, assuming that they're going to be there until your dying day? Yes, they agree to those terms, but we already know, women are not a gender of their word. They change their words in a week. They could go to in love with you in 1 week and I'm not in love with you the following week. So why would you take her word on a lifetime commitment that could cost you your whole future? If you are going to sit at the poker table with these women, I would advise, don't slide your chips in the middle of the table. You keep your chips next to you, and and just don't gamble with her at all. Don't gamble your future with her. The all in, that's really what it is. You're at a poker table and you're pushing the chips all in, thinking that you're making the right gamble with that woman across the table. And at the end of the day, she's the one giving you the poker face. Like the video, subscribe to the video, hit the notification bell so whenever new videos come out, you guys will be able to check them out. You take care, and there's more videos to come. Stay safe out there.